Battle Game in 5 Seconds. I don't think you can get a simpler name than that. Thankfully, it's not a light novel. Otherwise, it'd be named something like Life is So Boring. I like games so much. A cat girl killed me and transported me to a facility where I test abilities and say for my own life. But yeah, this is my thoughts on the first 2 episodes of Battle Game in 5 Seconds, a series that is airing in the summer 2021 anime season. So let's jump into it. Battle Game in 5 Seconds opens up with a guy named Akira, who essentially seems like he's bored of life itself. He thinks tests and everything are boring. He just likes playing games. And he's like, man, I just want a really immersive game to get into. And then sure enough, this random, big, huge, muscly, bandaged guy shows up and starts attacking him. And Akira apparently immediately goes into gamer mode and I guess runs off to a random building where he springs a trap on the guy and then kills him. So apparently this gamer turned killer. But he's then confronted by some random cat girl that's like, yeah, I didn't actually think you'd be able to take him out, but sorry, this next game's going to be pretty much impossible. And she blasts his arm and half his side out. And then he passes out thinking he's dead. And then he wakes up inside of a facility along with a whole bunch of other people who have all been apparently, this cat girl lady kind of explains things to them. They're all there to essentially trial out different abilities that they've kind of created. And they've been taken out of the, national registry, so they are pretty much, at this point, presumed dead by society. And they're all, like I said, they're with different abilities given to them to be tested. And there's no rules in there. They just kind of are assigned different battles and matches. And, again, they just have to test out these abilities and give their feedback. So, yeah, the first battle kind of opens up with Akira being pinned up against some guy named Madoka. And it seems like Madoka has the ability to turn things into metal, or at least objects into other objects. So he makes a sword and starts attacking Akira. And that's when we find out that Akira has like a very unique ability. His ability is specifically, it's kind of vague. It essentially is your ability is whatever your opponent believes it is. And so how Akira essentially beats this guy is that he goes, oh, you know what my ability is. You experienced it earlier. That cat girl used it. And essentially back in the orientation period, this cat girl has the ability to turn hand into cannon. And she turned it into a cannon and shot this guy. And so him essentially saying, you know what that ability is. The girl used it earlier. That guy, Madoka, essentially imagines that Akira has this cannon too. And so then Akira has the cannon because it's what he imagined it to be. So like I said, very, very vague and very crazy stretch of an ability, but it makes it very unique. That's for sure. The second episode pretty much follows a girl named Yuri, and Yuri is also in this facility. We get a little bit of backstory in that the idea that she hates when people say the term guzen, basically, the idea of something being by random chance. And it shows this kind of series of events of her hating this. Her mother basically hating the fact that she birthed her. The fact that her mother picked up some random guy on the street and he's got a daughter and now she's got to take care of her. The random chance that she ended up helping this guy that everybody else ignored on the side of the street and turned out to be a stalker. This random chance that she managed to see this guy on the top of a building wanting to kill himself because she wouldn't give him attention. All these random chances, and he eventually pulls her off of the building in like some kind of lover's suicide. So yeah, all these little random chances. And then, of course, when she ends up in this facility, this cat girl basically saying, we chose you all by random. So she really hates this random word. But anyways, her ability she's given is that all of her physical abilities can be increased by 5-fold. Which doesn't make sense to me, but we'll go with this. And she ends up getting pitted against this guy who is like, I don't know, he's just like super pervert old man. And he just and his ability is to be able to know the condition of somebody by smelling them, which grats to this facility for going, man, we should make an ability to smell and know what people's condition is. I guess. It's a great first match for her so that she can easily beat him, I guess. But yeah, he's smelling her and making comments about her, inexperience and her fear and all this stuff. And then you get in this, I don't know why we'd care, but he has a backstory apparently where he was with some escort girl, and she eventually tries to blackmail him, and he kills her. And so I guess it's kind of the idea of pushing the aspect of him wanting to control people. And so obviously him knowing her condition is a way for him to instill fear and control her. And eventually Yuri gets mad and is enough with it, squeezes his arm and crushes it, and then beats the crap out of him and wins. So yeah, that's pretty much where we're leaving it at this point. We now have, obviously, Akira and Yuri are now in a group with 3 other people, so they're now doing group battles, and we'll see where it goes from here. So my thoughts on the series, I really struggle. I like it, but at the same time, there's like these little things that I'm already nitpicking. It looks okay. They're doing a decent job on it. You know, when the action happens, it looks like it's moving. There's a few points where the off modeling happens, but for the most part, it actually is really well animated. All things considered, I don't like Akira already. I think from the get go, he just doesn't seem like a character I really believe. Like this just random gamer suddenly out of nowhere is like, yeah, sure, let's kill this dude and I'm gonna win the game. He already is a character I can't connect to just because he doesn't seem real. He doesn't have real contemplations that just a random kid or a random gamer would suddenly have. And it's not going to go in super war mode and suddenly, stab a pipe through a guy. So I already don't follow Akira. He's already that overly thinking main character that I've never really gone along with. I liked Yuri's character. I understand her. I get her gripes. I get her issues. I get why she is the way she is. I get why she hates random things. I already understand her in a single episode. I got her. I couldn't get Akira. So I'm already in this phase now where I just don't like the main character. I really like the heroine character. She's a lot more believable and relatable than the main character. And I'm a super gamer, so that tells you something when I relate more to the random girl than the gamer. But I do think that Akira's ability is very unique. I think there is something to be said about this is another battle survival game story, which we've had a lot of. But we've never really had a battle game types idea with the main character specifically having the ability to essentially create illusion to another person. And that is nice. I think I seem to remember there was a series where there was a person it wasn't a battle. I don't think it was a battle show, but I remember there was a show that had a guy with a special ability that was a manifestation of people's fears and what they thought something was. So I don't think it's a unique idea, but it as a main character gimmick, I think is a cool idea. And what they could end up doing with that could end up being cool. I think it's also one of those things where it can kind of get in an area where it's going to get really dumb. It can easily get dumb is what I mean. But it is cool. It is unique. I like that. Yuri's ability makes no sense whatsoever. I don't understand the idea of something increasing by 5-fold. Again, this is nothing against Yuri and a girl, but I don't think that she could probably punch with that much poundage, and then you times that really, let's say like 5 pounds of pressure in her punch, and then 25 pounds of pressure in her punch. I don't see her crushing a man's arm. So I'm already kind of in a, it must be like a, 5 times 5 times 5 times 5, like that kind of element, like root square or whatever. Not necessarily times 5, because that, again, 5 pounds times 5, 25 pounds, not going to be much pressure. So I don't know. I just ignore it, I guess, and go on. But yeah, I think my biggest struggle and besides the fact that I don't like the main character already, my biggest struggle that I have with the show right now is we've already discounted death. And that's a really bad place to put a show like this. Like right off the bat, episode 1, you're already showing that death doesn't matter. That they die and they can be brought back. So thus, my fear of these characters being injured or killed in the future is completely negated at this point. Now, granted, you can say, yes, this facility, this company technically revived them just to have them fight. And that's not to say that they will revive them again. But again, you've already said, essentially, here's Akira, side blown out, his arm blown off, he bled out on the ground, but he was saved. They have some miraculous ability to save them. Obviously, somebody probably at this facility has the ability to heal. But like I said, you have a battle royale show where the idea is surviving, but the idea of surviving doesn't matter. And that's, I think, already killed the feeling of tension in the series. So unless they change something in the future that says, well, maybe you can't do it too many times or something like that, right now, they've already ruined that aspect. And that kind of is a little bit of a letdown. Now, they did have some point in which Mion, the cat girl, seemed to have gone into Akira's dreams and mentioned the idea that them using abilities takes away the lifespan of others, claiming that it is the lifespan of people on the other side of the world. Now, again, this is in a dream. We don't know if it's actually real. It could just be Akira thinking this. But if it is real, that she maybe got somebody to put her in his dreams and it's an actual conversation, what part of it was the joke? Was it the fact that they're taking life away from those on the other side of the earth? Or is the whole thing a joke? The idea that they, lose their lifespan by using their ability. So that could be the way around the whole idea of you don't die, is the idea that you can still die by using your ability too much. But again, she said joking, and it was in his dreams, so we don't even know if that's even true at all. So the other thing I struggled with was they drug out Yuri's fight a little bit too long, having the guy pretty much sniffing at him and talking about this backstory of how he likes to control people and all this kind of stuff. It was like, okay, did we really have to stretch this out to a full episode? And we wanted to give the entire episode to Yuri, so we had to drag out this scene with this guy sniffing on her and talking and perving out. I think that was a bit drug out for what it kind of presented. At some point, I'm like, okay, we get the point. Punch him or kick him or whatever and move on. But I felt that was a little drag out. So I hope that future episodes, that obviously they're probably going to have more crazy pervy people in it. Hopefully the later episodes with that kind of stuff doesn't drag out as much as that, but that was kind of a bad sign for me that they might drag out some of these fights and some of the battle drama out a little bit too far. So, not that it's a deal breaker for me, it's just one of those things where it's kind of a sign of the writers' willingness to kind of drag certain things out. So we'll see in that in the future. But like I said, overall, animation, it's fine. I like Yuri as a character. Don't like the MC so far. Hopefully they can turn that around. Like I said, the MC's ability, Akira's ability, is very unique and interesting. And I'm curious to see what they'll do with the abilities going forward and how he can probably, use that against other people. Obviously, him being in a group with Madoka right now, the question does come up, does he reveal to Madoka and the rest of them that his ability is not hand cannon, but it's actually what they perceive? But if he does that, essentially everybody but Madoka will then know that they just have to imagine he has the ability to, drop one single drip of water out of his finger. I mean, he can't reveal what he can do because then it's gonna mess him up. So it's almost like he has to just allow them all to believe that he has a hand cannon. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Battle game in 5 seconds. Hope you guys enjoyed my impressions. If you did, leave a like down below. Comment down below. Let me know what you thought of this series so far, if you're liking it, or if you're going to check it out. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I thank you all for watching, and y'all take care.